everybody, it's Dr. Keela with the third installment about my trip to West Africa. Today, I'll be discussing the various places I visited while there, particularly Saly, Toubab Diallo, Almadies, and the capital city of Dakar. Primarily, I stayed in Saly, Senegal. It's a seaside resort area south of the capital city, and it's actually become one of the top tourist destinations in West Africa. It's here that I enjoy the local cuisine, particularly chebu. I really like this. It is such a flavorful dish of rice, fish, and vegetables. Whenever I go on vacation, I set aside what I call my self care time. Part one of this for me was taking a quick boat ride with the ladies over to a spot called the lagoon. Now, as I mentioned, Sally is a seaside area, so there's plenty of beach. But the lagoon was isolated. So we had that area pretty much all to ourselves. It was so peaceful just watching the waves crash against the beach. I walked out there a little bit and got my feet wet, but it was just so relaxing just being there and not having to worry about a lot of noise and people blaring any music and what have you. Now, part two, of course, was going to the spa. And fortunately for us, Spa Nareli was literally a short walk, almost right around the corner from our villa. Now, even though there was a little bit of a language barrier, I know for a fact that my masseuse understood how pleased I was with her service because of the huge smile on my face. We just had a great and relaxing time at the spa. I was also happy that I was able to support a woman owned business. The lady who owns Spa Norelli is half Senegalese and half French. Her father sent her to France to be educated and give her exposure to the spa business. And then, of course, she has now come back to Senegal and opened up the spa for services. On the way to the capital city, we took the scenic route through Toubab Diallo. And this is a coastal village where there are a number of beautiful beachside mansions. And the elites, of course, live here. And I apologize that I didn't take a picture of this, but we made a quick stop and got these delicious coconut cookie treats. And they're different from any coconut cookie I've ever had in the US. We also made a stop in Almadies, which is basically like a suburb or administrative district of Dakar. It's an upscale residential area where some ambassadors and expats live, including a number of Black American expats are there as well. Here, we enjoyed lunch at Sen Burger. We stopped at Sen Burger because this is another woman owned business. It is a two-story burger restaurant that overlooks the Atlantic Ocean, and the burgers are awesome. I ordered the shrimp burger, and I have to tell you, it transported me back to my childhood because when I was done eating, I was saying, yummy to my tummy. I also spent a little time at one of the markets here to pick up some Senegalese souvenirs. Last, but certainly not least, was the capital city of Dakar. It's the largest city in the country. And a little bit of history here. It's not the original capital. The original capital was St. Louis, but it was changed to Dakar in 1902. Now, slavery was abolished in 1848, but Senegal didn't gain independence from France until 1960. Dakar is a financial center, and the Central Bank of West Africa, which is located there, manages the currency, the West African franc, also known as the CFA. It's also the site of the Renaissance Monument, which I shared with you all last week. And here is the Mosque of Divinity, which is just gorgeous architecture. In Dakar, it is huge. It reminds me somewhat of New York because of how crowded it is. It's a city of over 3 million people. And I remember hearing that initially it was planned for about a quarter of a million people. So it has experienced just exponential growth. And it was pretty hot here. The temperature stayed in like the mid 80s and I think got up to the 90s while we were there. So I am so glad that I packed my Diva fan to help keep me cool. But overall, this trip was wonderful. And I'll talk a little bit more next week about how I think this trip to West Africa has changed me. See you all next week. Bye now.